So good morning again, everybody. This is Lynn Gardner. Welcome to our team call. I was announcing to visitors on the call. We started this a couple months ago, actually. Our team decided that we needed to have a platform, to kind of get everybody included in the team. We're trying to build a global business, and some of us on this call do have a global business already, and so it's important to feel connected. We're going to talk about that today, actually, about communication. So that's what this is all about. We want everybody to feel free to participate, to give input. I just mute people out for law and order, but when it's time to open it up, please feel free to raise your hand on the screen, and I'll be glad to call on you and look forward to whatever questions or input that you might have. Just a few announcements before we get going. First of all, thank you everybody who attended the first Friday potluck dinner at the farm. It was so much fun. I had so much fun with all of you, some delicious food and great time of fellowship. And if you guys on the line are local to us and you've never attended one of these, I'd really encourage you to do it. It's just a time to just really feel like we're connecting. Talk about communication. It really is a time to connect. And we actually had several guests that were at this last potluck dinner. And when people see what we're all about and that we have such an amazing team of people, and they see that, they're just more encouraged to want to step up and join us in our mission. So feel free to bring people to this. And if you're local, and again, thank you everybody for those that showed, brought delicious food, and for giving us your Friday night. Again, an announcement coming up for starting next week. We wanted to get this message, out to our team this week, but I will start next week. I mentioned to some of you last week that I really felt compelled. I do a lot of spiritual things on social media that some of you are familiar with and some of you aren't, but I really felt compelled to bring forth a spiritual message to our business. And there's only so many of these calls, this type of thing that I can do, So when Tamia asked me to work with her on the leadership calls, I just kind of said, oh man, what am I going to do? Because I really can't dedicate a lot more time to this kind of thing. So I decided that what I'll do is just be taking a few minutes on our team call. Starting next week, we're going to begin talking about business principles from the Bible. And even if you do not share my faith, these principles work, they're universal principles, okay? So I would like, some input as we go along, of course, but I'm really excited to bring this forth because a lot of people have notions about business, and some of you have notions about, Christians should be in poverty and things like that. It's crazy stuff that people think. So these are really good foundational principles from the Bible, things that involve integrity and success and things like that. So I hope that you'll be tuning in and invite people to that call as well. I'm really excited. I was just giving praises, and I can never give enough praises to Terry for this event coming up. We met a little bit yesterday after I had my team luncheon, and he's going over the details, and I'm just so grateful for him in my life because, as you guys know, here I am. I'm stepping up again, and taking some responsibility, but I'm so bad at all these details. And so I'm very, very blessed to have Terry on board, and I'm very excited. It's just, I'm so amazed to see how far and wide people are coming to this event. And as I was, looking at the porch on Friday night, that frankly is surprising it didn't tip over. But I was looking at the porch and all the people and the camaraderie and the fellowship and the smiles, and I was thinking about, wow, just imagine 200 people like that, at the farm in October. So very excited, Terry, my friend. There aren't enough words to thank you for all that you're doing to put this together. If you guys haven't registered, all I can tell you is this is a warning call, because believe me, it's filling up and you're liable to lose out, and I would hate that, but it is what it is. You guys know that I do the scrolls from the greatest salesman in the world, and I take them month by month. So obviously, I turned the pages to a new scroll here at the beginning of July, and I love this message because the whole scroll, if you want to look it up online, you can, but the whole scroll is about laughter, and I like to laugh. I was teasing with my kids over the weekend. I said, if it's true that you get endorphins and you have a longer life if you laugh, I'm going to outlive Methuselah, okay? And I'm not sure I want to. But, laughter is so important. So I want you to read along with me because I thought this was such a great message. And with my laughter, all things will be reduced to their proper size. I will laugh at my failures, and they will vanish in clouds of new dreams. I will laugh at my successes, and they will shrink to their true value. I will laugh at evil, and it will die untasted. I'll laugh at goodness, and it will thrive and bound. Each day will be triumphant only when my smiles bring forth smiles from others, and this I do in selfishness, for those on whom I frown are those who purchase not my goods. I will laugh at the world. I will laugh at the world. Henceforth, I will shed only tears of sweat. For those of sadness or remorse or frustration are of no value in the marketplace, while each smile can be exchanged for gold, and each kind word spoken from my heart can build a castle. And so I just love this message. Again, I would encourage you guys. It's funny, sometimes we just won't make commitments to things like this, but I spend about 30 minutes a day reading a scroll through the month, and it starts out in the morning, and at midday I read it again, and at night I read it again, and there has been a tremendous transformation with me in a lot of things in my attitude over this past year where I committed to do these scrolls. So I don't know, if you can't find 30 minutes in your day, we probably need to do a class on time management. But if you want to build you and you care enough about you to be the best you can be, then I would suggest you pick something. And this has been really, really good for me. So, and I like the fact that we're talking about communication today. And at the end of this, it says, each smile can be exchanged for gold, and each kind word spoken from my heart can build a castle. So we are going to talk about communicating, and we want to talk a lot about how we communicating, as a team, and also with our customers. Frankly, everybody on this call, sometimes actions speak louder than words, and people that are on this call, especially our local team, it speaks volumes. It's a great way to communicate with the team that you are on the team, that you care about the team, that you're engaged with the team, that you're even on this call at all. And then, of course, it comes time to open the lines up. And for those of you that are comfortable doing that, I don't want to pick on people that don't feel comfortable, on a live call. But, those of you that are comfortable, you speak up and you communicate. That's how we communicate. So this is just a simple form of one of the ways that we communicate. So how are we communicating, with each other and with our customers? It's said that the quality of our communication has a direct correlation between the quality of our relationships. If we don't have a quality communication in whatever method you're using, you can't have a quality relationship. It's when we fail to communicate, or it's when we miscommunicate, that we can fail with our mate, with our children, and with our business. And today, obviously, we're going to talk about the business. But, communication takes on all kinds of shapes and sizes these days. A lot of times we think we're communicating, but we're not really communicating. You see, it's not just the words that we use, it's the method that we use. Our world has changed. I mean, it's just amazing for me to live this long, to see so many changes. I used to laugh with my dad. He was born in 1913, and can you imagine what he saw in his lifetime? But I also look at our world and say, oh my gosh, things just got on a fast track, and it's changed. We have every imaginable means of communicating. We have text messaging, private messaging, email, social media, webinars, we Skype, Periscope, you name it. There's all kinds of methods that we have to pick from. The communication may have changed, but guess what, folks? Human nature never will. It will never change. So when people are making a serious decision, or they're evaluating a potential purchase, for instance, humans need human contact. They don't just need digital communication. So, that will never change, no matter what you tell yourself about communicating, and no matter what, privilege that we have, really, to be able to tap into the forms of communication that we have. Nothing will ever change human nature, and human nature needs human touch when it's making a decision. So communicating with the team has nothing to do, frankly, with frequency, and has nothing to do with quality. So I talked about communicating with each other through this call, and, it doesn't have anything really to do with the frequency, although we should, touch base with one another. I was thinking about my kids, for those of you that know me, I have 4 kids, and they're all grown, and I'm a grandma now, and I have 2 kids that are local, and I see them probably, once a week. If I'm really blessed, I'll see them twice a week. And, I've got one in Pennsylvania with the grandkids. I see them once a month, unless, something unusual is going on. I've got one that's in Charlottesville that I haven't seen since Christmas. So we have to communicate, is my point, But I don't talk to my kids every day. I love them more than I will love anything else, person in this life, but I don't communicate with them every day. But when we communicate, it's quality. We don't rely just on sending a text message to one another, and that's not enough, okay? It's not enough. So we have to look at, at the quality of our communication. Are we communicating with our team? Are you in touch with your team? And again, that doesn't mean you got to do a daily call or 3 calls a day or whatever, but it means that you need to somehow express yourself with your team, that you're all alive and well, and you're on the same team. Are we communicating with our immediate team? Again, we're not talking about carving out hours a day to dial everybody that you ever met in the business, but it's important that we build relationships, and the quality of the time that we give is a direct correlation to that quality in our team. So do we communicate with the entire team? Are we communicating effectively? I think you need to ask yourself, do you measure up? I've had people say to me, for instance, they go quiet for months, and I still, reach out with the notifications or the emails, with these calls as best I can, and yet sometimes their feelings get hurt and say, well, but I don't hear from you. Well, and you're quiet, are you alive? You got to communicate something. I'm busy. I'm not doing the business right now, but I want to. Whatever that is, it always goes both ways, guys. So, you've got to be sure that you're communicating effectively. And also, for those of us that need to reach out to the team, sometimes life changes. You might lie to yourself or you might lie to the world, but everybody's life changes. It has ups, it has downs, it has times of focus, it has times of distraction, it has time to joy and time for sadness. Everybody's life is constantly evolving every single day, in fact, almost every hour. And so it's important that we know and we communicate with people to see where they are. Something could have changed in their life, good or bad, that shifted their business, or maybe they're ready to run with it, and we've got to stay on board with them. So what does your communication look like to you? I have to ask you to do this. Consider if you could you build a meaningful relationship in your life, whether that's your spouse, with your children, with your friends, whatever. If the only method you used for them was digital, would you be able to do that? If you use the same method of communication that for your personal life that you do in your business life, what would it look like? We're in a relationship business. Again, human nature will never change. It will always look for personal contact. We're in a relationship business. So how are you measuring up with that? Are you building relationships, or are you just trying to make a sale? There's a big difference, and I can tell you there'll be a big difference in the level of success that you want to see if you're just trying to make a sale. Our dependency on technology as a sole source of communicating has a huge part in the lack of success that we'd like to see. There's a big difference, guys, between communicating, message and building a relationship. A big one. Again, I could take all 4 of my kids kind of scattered around East Egypt and send them a text message every couple of days. That's not working the relationship. I can't hear their voice. I can't hear how they're feeling. I can't look in their eyes. I can't build that relationship. And it's so easy to dismiss one another, with a text message. It's also real easy, in the early part I was talking about miscommunication. I have seen more fights over text messaging than I care to know. I mean, you can't give inflection. You might not use the right words. Before you know it, somebody's offended. You can't get it. I mean, I've had times where I said, just call me, for heaven's sake, because it was a train wreck and you couldn't even get off of it, How are you going to build a relationship like that? Again, we're in the people business. Our relationships are our mainstay. And if we can't learn to do that within our own team, we certainly can't learn to do that outside, with our prospects. So, people, we hear this often, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. And I'll tell you something, if all you did was plaster me with emails or text messages and I never really got the feeling that you cared, actions always speak louder than words, always, no matter what it is, whether it's we're working a prospect or an event or whatever, actions will always speak louder than words. And to take action means you got to communicate. So every form of communication that we have, guys, has a time and a place. I hope you know that, in terms of technology, if I look around just our immediate team, I got it going on, okay? I'm not an IT specialist. I don't suggest that I am. But when I look at all of us, in the team that I know personally, I got it going on. But I still know that has a time and a place. I'm not trying to build relations. I am looking for leads. There's no doubt about it, and I'm doing pretty well at that. But I'm not looking to build relationships, with these online people or just in a digital world. I have to laugh because you guys know I ran from Facebook for forever until just I saw the need to get on for the business, and I would laugh at the whole terminology friends. I'm friends with them. We're not friends with anybody. They're people that we're connected to on the web. We have no relationship there unless we build a relationship there. But we use some form of communication often, guys, to hide behind our fear and our insecurity. I know this because I've been there. And I know that when you get into the business, and sometimes, you're driven by fear because you don't know everything, you don't know how to do everything, you think you're supposed to be a walking encyclopedia for our business, and so what do? You hide behind an email. And you send out some digital form of communication to somebody that you're expecting to not only make a huge acquisition in their life, but you're expecting to change their life. How are you supposed to do that with just a digital communication? So, I have to ask you, if when you were first introduced, if you never saw a demo, you never saw what we have, you never experienced the cognitive water for yourself, you never had any of those advantages whatsoever, you just got plastered with emails, would you be on board with us today? And I'm going to answer for you. The answer would be no, you would not. You would never have made that step just with email communication. And so we cop out and we send out emails and we send, oh my gosh, it's like a book. I've received them. I see all the links you send. You're just given an open invitation because you haven't engaged with them. Remember, people buy because of you. You've never engaged with them except through email. They don't know you, and it's so easy to send a text or an email and say, I'm not interested. And then what are you going to do? But it's harder to do when you have a relationship going, guys. So ask yourself, the methods that you're using to tell yourself that you're actually doing the business, would you have gotten on board with just that? And the answer is going to be no. So reevaluate how you're communicating, And so at that point, I want to open it up and see if we have anybody that would like to communicate at this point and give some 2 cents. I know I've kind of chased rabbits around a little bit, communicating with our team, communicating with our prospects, and all kinds of, ideas and thoughts on that. So I would appreciate some of your thoughts on that as well as we work through and communicate our way through the lack of or poor communication in our business as we see it. So anybody want to add something to the call this morning, just raise your hand and I'll unmute you. Okay, I've got Brenda. Hold on one second, Brenda. Okay, you should be open mic now. Are you there?
Okay, great. Yeah, you can hear me, Lynn, right?
Yes, we can, thanks.
In my past life, thank you, that was phenomenal. I love learning about communication and how to communicate effectively. When I was in my past life, so to speak, when I worked for IBM, I was a senior project manager. And one of the things I learned in communication is the #1 reason why projects fail is because of lack of communication. You can have everything. You can pass quality gate checks. You can have methods and procedures. You can have processes in place. You can have it all. But if you don't take time to communicate effectively, it can ruin a whole project. And I take that and I say that because it can also ruin a sale, a final sale, by not communicating that meaning, starting at the very beginning and also closing it properly. So I appreciate very much you speaking on communication. It is critical, team, that we step up and communicate eye to eye with people. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Brenda, for sharing that, and that's awesome input. And you just made me think about something when you mentioned that. And as project manager, I've never been one, but I'm sure that you have to handle just a endless number of details, and you have to track those details. And the same is true, as Brenda was suggesting, in our world. There's a method to what we do, and we can't. If we fail, for instance, if we have touch base with someone and perhaps we've shared water with them, or they came to a lunch or a dinner demo or something like that, whatever it is, if we fail to communicate in a timely fashion, we're done. We hear the fortunes in the follow-up. That's just another way of saying if you don't get on it, if you snooze, you lose. When people are excited, that's the time to talk to them. And so there absolutely is a strategy. There absolutely is a method in terms of follow-up, when you follow up and how you follow up. If you don't know what that is, then you need to find out. If you do know what that is and you're running from it and hiding from it, saying, well, I text them. Well, guys, it's not, humans need humans. So just texting them, how do you like the water? Or what'd you think of the demo? You're copping out, okay? And you won't succeed if you just rely on that method. Those methods have a time and a place, and I use them every day, and you guys know that. But they have a time and a place, and certainly we have to be mindful of that. So thank you, Brenda. That was fabulous input. And it's so true. Communication, that will be the #1 means of failure, really, for all of us. Anybody else have something they want to add to the call this morning? Just raise your hand. I'll unmute you. Boy, quiet bunch this morning. I see Mike Cassidy. Hold on one second, Mike. Okay, you're open mic, my friend.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
You can, thank you.
Yeah, Lynn, you made a lot of excellent points through that presentation. And probably one that jumps out at me the most is that we are in a relationship business.
Mm-hmm.
And before we can do business, before we can build a team, before we can have, people join us in what we're trying to do, we have to make a connection, and we have to develop trust, and we have to build a relationship. And we're looking for team members that, this is going to be a long-term relationship. It's not just a sale and move on. It's people that will be with you for years and decades, and will actually become part of your mission and your team.
Mm-hmm.
So you're absolutely right. You can't do that through Facebook, through texting, through email. They all have a place. They all have a place and time to use.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow you have to make that connection. You have to develop that trust, and have similar values and goals, eyes, to really become part of the team. So one tool that I want to talk about in communicating, and of course, after you build the trust and still tell the stories and so forth, you still have to relay facts.
Right.
About what we have, about the technology. Facts are a part of it.
Right.
And EWS has just redesigned their E2 website, which I think is phenomenal, a phenomenal tool for us, especially doing a global business, because you have at your fingertips, all the forms, all the price conversion tables, and it's extremely well laid out. So I would encourage anybody that has that site to go ahead and look at theirs. And if you don't have it, look at ours, waterforbalance.com. Waterforbalance.net, I'm sorry, is the E2 one. So that's water, F-O-R, balance. So, take a look at that, and I think that will be a great tool for all of us to use. And again, Lynn, thanks. Thanks for all your insight into this. Communication is really the most important thing in our business.
Oh, it really is. Thank you, Mike, and thank you for bringing up the EWS site, because we talked about it yesterday when you guys called, and it's exciting to see a good change, a positive change like that. And guys, we have to remember that we're a work in progress as a company. Even things have just really taken off, and there are some things being developed for us. And EWS is one of those examples where we've had it, but it just went to the next level. So take a look at that. Very, very good input. Thank you so much, Mike, for that. And I did want to kind of give an example with something. We talk about communication. Mike was saying building relationships, and Brenda was saying the importance of, you'll fail without that good communication. And I share something just personally with you, and when I share this, I share this with a good attitude. I'm not complaining attitude, okay? But I went through a season in my life where I'd gone to the same church forever. It was my church. These are my friends, my family. At 16 years of my life with the same group of people, okay? And we had some rocky roads. And in that time, that season, I chose to walk away, which is not the right thing to do, by the way. But I did it. And when I walked away, I can't tell you how hurt I was that nobody reached out to me. I would run into people and they'd say, oh, we miss you, and we've been praying for you. And I'd say, who knew? I was so hurt over that. And of course, it wasn't about me. It was all about what God was doing. But I'm just giving you that as an example. People aren't mind readers. I mean, how are we supposed to know? 16 years of my life, and I spent a lot of time in turmoil in that situation of my life because I was self-centered, saying, well, these people don't even care about me. They did care about me. They do care about me. But it was that lack of communication that caused a lot of pain. So, it not only happens personally, but professionally as well. Try to think of a situation in your life, that might be similar to mine, where you say, well, I got all bent around the axle, or I didn't move forward. I didn't do what God wanted me to do. I didn't make changes because I interpreted no communication with a lack of caring. So remember, people don't care what you know till they know that you care. And so I went rattling off there, and I see Pat Cassidy took his hand down. Pat, it's back up. Okay, Pat, I'm going to unmute you now here, my friend, and you should be open mic. Are you there?
I'm here. Lynn, first of all, thank you for all that valuable information. And there's so much about communication. And a couple of things that you really touched on was the need for human contact.
Right.
And people, especially with a, with any type of relationship building, you have to have that human contact somehow. And so with the digital marketing that we use, whether it's texting or whether it's email or whatever, you just don't get that. And so that's why, it's extremely important for people to reevaluate the ways that they communicate. And if what you're doing is, say, primarily emailing or texting and very little calling, I would change that whole equation around, where if 8 out of 10 communications that you have are from texting, just temporarily change it around to 8 out of 10 communications just through a phone call or face-to-face.
Mm-hmm.
And you would be surprised at the incredible difference that that's going to make in your business, just that one change around. So for people, I would do that just as an experiment, just for today, tomorrow, maybe for a week, and just see what happens. The other thing that we need to realize is that we are in the business of not only developing relationships with ourselves and other people, but we're in the business of connecting people to other people. And that's why the phone call is so important, and especially the three-way phone call. And if people were to just do a few three-way phone calls per week, it would be a dramatic change in the outcome of their business. And now, with communication, we have to understand that, and I know Mike and I talked about this last week, is that we tell people it's really important to do a three-way phone call. But what we really didn't understand is that there's people out there that don't really know how to do a three-way phone call. And so we need to ask about, what do you know about a three-way phone call? Do you know how to make one? Do you know what to say when you initiate one? Through it and actually teach people. And if we spend 5 minutes teaching people about a three-way phone call, it would go dramatically better. But we just assume things that are not true, and especially younger people. A lot of them have never done one, and they don't know how to do it. As crazy as that might sound, maybe to you, Lynn, or you, Brenda, or some of the other people on the call. So we really have to think about how we communicate. Do people really understand us? And what Brenda said earlier about being a project manager. Without the project manager, a lot of things just don't work right. And so if you're the one that's been around for a little while and you know how to do this business, you really do have to go the extra mile to communicate and help other people communicate. And so, Lynn, I want to thank you for this information, and I think that just helping people to understand and to really understand that this is a business of helping people to help other people. So anyway, I want to thank you for that, and to everybody on the call, I just want to acknowledge Lynn as somebody that's out there every day putting forth a lot of effort, and just want to tell everybody that we do appreciate you, Lynn, so thank you.
Oh, wow, Pat, thank you. Well, I thank you and Mike for many, many things, for your support and your leadership, and also for the inspiration behind this call. And I also want to thank you for bringing something up that I had forgotten all about. It's so true. Guys, we can try to fool ourselves, but it doesn't work, okay? You got to be real. And there are people, there is no shame in not knowing how to do a three-way. There's no shame in that. The shame is when you don't acknowledge it and you don't ask for help. If you don't know how to do it, even if it's just, I don't know how to functionally do it with my phone, you know, that's one thing. Or maybe you know how to functionally do it, but you don't know how to initiate it, or how would you set it up, or when would you let people know? Guys, please do yourself a favor. There's no shame in that. Nobody's going to say, well, you're an idiot, Pat. How come you don't know how to? Nobody's going to do that. But you're holding yourself back with pride. If you don't know how to do it, then you need to ask how to do it, and any one of us will help you. And, you know, quite frankly, it wouldn't matter if you had a Stone Age flip phone. Guess what? You can still do a three-way call. So, you know, you don't have to have the state-of-the-art, biggest technology. Three-way calling has been out there for a decade or so or more on cell phones, okay? So, you know, you don't have to have any shame in that. But, you know, we all, and I am like number one, had to just get to a place, I'm still a work in progress, but to a place of humility where, you know, I'm saying, hey, I don't know anything about this, man, teach me. Hey, guys, you got to get there. So if that's one of the reasons you're holding back, is you just don't know how, please stop, you know, making excuses. And, you know, I see it all the time where people will say, oh, yeah, I know how to do that, or, oh, yeah, I know all about that. And I can tell from speaking with them that they don't. And I do everything except to say, you're lying, you don't know about it, you know, but everybody's got to come to that point. If it's something as simple and you think, well, you know, this, I feel like an idiot, I should know how to do a three-way call, please stop it. Nobody's judging anybody. So thank you for reminding me of that, Pat. And hey, I'm more than willing to work with somebody on that, or I'm more than willing to do a little special webinar session and do a visual if you guys need that. Whatever. Please just stop running from it because of lack of knowledge. Nobody's too, you know, you can always teach an old dog new tricks, right? And then I want to run on something as well when we talk about communication, and especially as it relates to people that we're trying to bring into the folds of our business. You know, you guys know our mission statement, and I think sometimes we forget it. It's spreading true health globally, and more importantly, with compassion. You know, are you on a compassionate mission? I can tell you right now, if all you think about is, ooh, I just made $285, ooh, I'm going to make $570, if all you're doing is counting those dollars, and that's your main focus, you will not succeed. You know, we have talked about this before, where in the real estate industry, there's a book out there, I don't know, the Millionaire Real Estate, I don't know what it is. It's one of those leading books. Keller Williams actually put it out. And as you looked at all of the leading, absolutely, the top of the top of the top, multi-million-dollar earners in the real estate industry, they'll all tell you the same thing. I never focused on the money. I focused on doing the best job I could do. If you focus on money, I know as bad as you might need money, believe me, don't preach to the choir, okay? I know what it's like to need money. But if that's the focus, you will not succeed. You'll get a little check here, and you'll get a little check there, but you will not see success. You've got to get your eye off that ball and keep it on the mission statement of compassion. And when you look at, I need to be compassionate, then you look at dealing with people and communicating with people in a whole different way. It's more than just dollars and cents. So they are people. Everybody's got needs. We're all different. We all have different DNA and different fingerprints and different personalities and different gifts. We're all different, thank God. You know, and we all need to be dealt with differently. So you can't just have a cookie cutter. And I also want to say that, you know, in terms of sending out emails, I know I did that in the beginning, so I can, you know, I can say that freely. A lot of you are doing it now. You know, you just have to keep in mind what you're doing. You know, the rule of thumb is always, don't send anybody anything. You know, don't give anybody water, for heaven's sake, until they know what you have. You need to show them, you know, a demo, whether it's you sit down and do a demo, you bring them to a demo, you sit down and watch kongandemo.com, you go online and watch kongandemo.com with them. Whatever it is, you've got to add value before you move to the next step. So sending out an email that's just an open invitation to go read the bathroom wall out there. I don't know if you understand this, but a lot of those, like you give somebody a YouTube clip, oh, I'm going to send them Dr. Michael from YouTube. And when they go to Dr. Michael from YouTube, they'll see all that other junk from competitors and everything come up on the screen. So you really already have to kind of be in motion with somebody before you put them on autopilot with some kind of email. Pick up the phone and make a phone appointment, or make a real appointment, or make a demo appointment, but you've got to add value before you can move forward with the next thing. You know, again, you're talking to somebody, I'm working the internet, okay? I'm getting leads every day. And I'm not just emailing them stuff, we're private messaging them on Facebook. I'm saying we need to talk. You know, that's the first step, is we have to, humans need humans. And I know that if they move forward, they're going to move forward because of me, because people always buy into you. So if you, how are they going to buy into an email? How are they going to have that, you know, that connection People always buy. They don't pick, people pick real estate agents and buy cars from people that they trust. They always buy into you, and you're what's going to make them make the next step. Well, they're not going to buy into you in a digital format. I can tell you that right now. I'm pretty good at what I do. It ain't happening. Okay? So you've got to get live with your communication. You've got to understand that just like you, people have to see the value of what we have before you start sending them emails and order forms. They have to see the value, whether that's through the demo, through the water share, both, or what, okay? So they've got to see the value. So enough of hearing from me. Anybody else have any words before we conclude the call? Anybody want to share? Put your hand up. I'll unmute you. No reason to be shy or scared. And I don't see anybody coming on board. So last call. Anybody want to say anything? Hands up. Okay, looks like not. So I just want to thank everybody for being on the call. And again, I especially thank those of you that speak up, because, our desire is to make this feel like a team meeting as best we can by not be, when we're not in the same room. And we need to do that for our people on the team that are far away. Again, if we want to build a global business, we can't sit in our hometown and meet every time. Sometimes we have to do this kind of thing. So it's my desire. I don't want to lead this call. I just want to help facilitate it. And I want you guys to be engaged in this call. So thank you for those of you that stepped up. Thank you, Pat and Mike, for inspiring the message. Again, next week and for a little bit of time, we're going to be talking about biblical principles of business. And, of course, that's not just going to be Lynn teaching. It's going to be, I want some interaction and some input on that, too. And I hope you'll be blessed by the words that come forth. So you guys go out there and make it a great day. And I will see you next week. Obviously, I'll talk to you guys in between if we're going to communicate, right? So make it a great day. Guys, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.